Berezan, Ukraine. Early morning. At that town, the streets are barren, lifeless. The wind howls like a wounded animal clawing through the trees. Inside a crumbling house, the walls are plastered with old family photos, 10 children grinding like fools, frozen in time, blind to the blood-soaked reality waiting just around the corner. Vika, 17, sits on the edge of her bed, clutching a jar of coins, her future, her lie. She slams it down on the nightstand, the glass rattling like bones. Her reflection in the mirror is a ghost. Her bright clothes swallowed by shadows, her hair tangled, her eyes hollowed out. The spark in her is gone, snuffed out. A sharp knock at the door. It swings open. Vova, 18, sent there, draped in black. He's a face mask of rage and despair. He steps in, slamming the door shut behind him. "Hey, it's time. It's time," Vika replied.
I know.
A desolate train car. Vika and Vova sit side by side, their hands brushing like strangers. Outside, the world blurs into a wasteland, a perfect reflection of the voids eating them alive. Vova, do you think they'll even notice? Vika replied.
For a second, then they will move on, like we never existed.
The train rattles on, the sound like a death march. Vova stares at Vika, his eyes burning like he's trying to carve her into his memory. The city glows golden and uncaring. Vika and Vova wander through the streets like ghosts. Koreshterek streets buzzes with life. Poshtova Square blossoms with light. All of it a sick joke compared to the rot inside them. They film clips on Vova's phone. Their laughter sharp and hollow. Their eyes dead inside. Vika smirking at the camera, voice dripping with sarcasm.
Something good remained.
Vova replied. Not for long, I guess. A dim, suffocating room on the 15th floor. The city lights bleed through the windows, casting jagged shadows. Vika and Vova sit on the floor, backs against the wall, their bodies pressed together like they are trying to merge into one. Vova, they'll say we did it for attention, Vika replied.
Let them, they will understand.
A heavy silence. Vova, are you scared? Vika replied.
No, just done.
Vova exhales, his head dropping against hers. They sit there drowning in the silence. Then he grabs her hand, squeezing so hard it hurts. She squeezes back harder, a final act of defense, a silent scream. The wind screams as they step into the balcony. The city sprawls below, oblivious. Vika stares down, her face a blank slate. Vova lights a cigarette, taking a long drag. Before shoving it into her hand, she takes it, inhaling like it's her last taste of life. Vika said,
Do you think it will hurt?
Vova, no, just falling and I guess then nothing. Vika flicks the cigarette over the edge, watching it vanish into the darkness. She turns to Vova. He meets her gaze. No words, just fire and ice. They step into the railing together. The camera lingers on their hands, gripping each other like a lifeline. A sharp inhale. Vika and Vova's story is one of a quiet devastation, of a love despair and a world refused to understand them. They were not just step-siblings, they were two souls bound by an unspoken pain, drawn to each other in ways society deemed unacceptable. Their families, bound by a traditional expectation, never truly accepted the depth of their relationship, the love they found in each other. Whether romantic or simply an unbreakable bond, became something forbidden, something wrong in the eyes of others. Much like Romeo and Juliet, they were young, desperate, and trapped in a world that gave them no room to exist. As they were, Shakespeare's tragedy tells of two lovers torn apart by the expectation of their families and the rigid boundaries of society. Vika and Vova's story, though centuries apart, carries the same weight of heartbreak. Two people who might have lived if only they had been allowed to love freely, if only they had found acceptance, had someone truly seen them beyond the labels, beyond the judgment. Things could have been different if someone had reached out, listened without condemnation. Perhaps Vova wouldn't have spiraled into self-destruction. Perhaps Vika wouldn't have followed. The tragedy is not just in how they died, but in how alone they felt while they were still alive. Mental health support, open conversations about emotional struggles, and society that doesn't demonize unconventional love could have changed everything. Their end was not inevitable. It was a consequence of being unheard, unseen, and rejected. On October 2nd, 2023, they took their final step together, leaving behind a world that never made space for them. Their story is not just a cautionary tale, it's a mirror reflecting the cost of silence, of a stigma of pushing people to the edges until they believe there is nowhere left to go. Their final words, "I love you," are haunting. Perhaps they meant their love, their bond, the only thing that made them feel alive before they let go. Or perhaps it was a plea, hoping that in the wake of their tragedy, the world might do better.